Hi everyone, welcome back to World of Tanks. I'm your host, Rue Reeves, and today we're looking at a T17? T1 Heavy replay. In my last live stream, I mentioned that I had a very good game in this tank, and I said that I would be making a video of this replay rather, and this is that video. So, this was, I believe, my second or third game in T1 Heavy. I haven't played it much at all because I skipped to the T29 through the Sherman Jumbo. But nonetheless, I still have a reason to go through this tank. I think there's some other tanks that I need to unlock further up the line. At the very least, I'd like to unlock the M6, and just to, kind of complete the line of like, okay, I can research and buy any tank I want to. So, yeah, I thought I'd buy it. Plus, I never got to play this tank on the PC version. I always played it on the mobile version, World of Tanks Blitz, and I always liked it. So I was like, well, let's see how it is when we're playing on PC. So, here we are. So, we spawned in on Airfield here, and I didn't think I was going to have a particularly good match because I'm a bottom tier heavy in a tier 6 match. And I assumed that it probably wasn't going to have that great of a game. But as you'll see, that was definitely a wrong assumption. So, I'm looking for this Super Chaffee over here, and I threw a blind shot over there. I thought maybe he would be poking there, but he wasn't. And now there's this Michu 105. It's one of the new tanks from the new tech tree that goes to the BZ Tier 10 tank. The Tier 5 is not that great, but it does have a big gun, kind of like the OI Experimental, but it doesn't have any of the armor that the OI Experimental had. So it's kind of a big letdown there. Nonetheless, I pump a shot right into the front of his tank. He's not been able to do anything to me yet. So I back off. Artie's trying to shoot at me there, and I don't really want to get killed by the leaf blower, aka the Lefeur 18B2. LEFH 18B2. So I take a big ol' hit there from the Michu 105, but I do give a return shot, so at least it wasn't a horrible trade. But he does track me and leave me exposed. But I don't repair because, well, he's the only one shooting at me at this moment, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm ready to shoot him when he comes back, but then I look on the minimap and I notice there's a Churchill 3 and an Easy 8 flanking me, and they just took out two of our tanks on this side over here. And surprisingly, the Churchill goes after our T-34-85, which allows me to absolutely go ham with this tank's great damage per minute. This tank uses a 76mm gun that has decent alpha damage at 115 and a 128mm penetration, which is more than enough to go through this Michu 108. And the premium rounds have 176mm, 177mm penetration, so it can easily go through. So I take the first hit from that guy, but he bounces and misses all his remaining shots, and I track him and just take him out. Doom Squatch there, and his Mitsu just got absolutely obliterated. So we're only 2 minutes into this game, and we've already done 1,100 damage, which is not a terrible result for a tier 5 heavy tank. I see the Super Chaffee's taking a look at me, and I try to pump a shot right through this crack, and surprisingly it hits. I believe that's the only shot that actually does hit through this crack, but it was a good shot nonetheless. And I keep waiting, hoping that he pokes through there again, but yeah, I don't think he ever does. So the T1 Heavy, while we're waiting, kind of got into a little bit of a dry spell here. The T1 Heavy has great damage per minute. It has 2,000 DPM, and you can get that up higher with, I guess you can put a rammer on this tank. Yeah, it reloads in 3.45 seconds. It's got 17 rounds a minute rate of fire. It has a very small aiming time of 1.92 seconds, which is great. What isn't great is the 0.41 accuracy there. As you can see, it doesn't quite go where you want it to. You can see he's going to poke up there, but it still hits. It's still a fairly accurate gun. It's got okay shell velocity of 792. It's kind of a little bit derpy from that respect, but it could be much, much worse. It has a potential damage of 10,000 with all its shells. And as you can see, it can get the job done. We're up to 1,500 damage now. It's got a 35 kilometer per hour top speed limit with a 10 kilometer per hour reverse speed. Or sorry, 14. Well, Tanks GG says that, but the in-game says 10. So I'm not sure which one is correct. And as you can see, this game has gotten pretty close down here to the end. There's only 4 enemy tanks left on the enemy team. This has been a very, very quick match, but that's kind of how low tiers sometimes are. Our T-52 takes out the VK 2801-105. That was a very dangerous tank, and I'm very glad that he did take him out. I get spotted there from the M10 RBFM. That's a very, very dangerous Tier 5 French tank destroyer. It's basically a Wolverine, but in French skin. And you can buy it in bonds. And if you want a good premium tank, it's not a bad one to look at. It's fairly cheap. I think it's only like 1,500 bonds. It's definitely worth it if you don't have any premium tanks whatsoever, and you can't afford a Tier 8 premium. You want something low tier. The M10 is definitely one to look at. In fact, I get taken out by this M10 if I remember correctly. Or maybe it's the Basato, which is the Tier 6 Italian tank destroyer. So I aim here and try to hit the M10, but again, that .041 accuracy is not doing me any favors there. And unfortunately, the T-67 on my team is just taking all the hits. The leaf blower, as I like to call it, gets a good hit into me. But I finally connect a shell to the M10. Again, the leaf blower is just pummeling me, and there's not much I can do about it. That French party is dangerous, and there's the Tier 6 Italian tank destroyer, and he has a good rate of fire, and he's going to take me out. I got caught out there, and yeah, unfortunately, there wasn't anything I could do about it. Our T-50, though, is going to come in and take out Sato. He gets tracked and easily gets taken out. And I ping the map to tell the teammates where the leaf blower is. The T-67, Jeff _ takes off after him, happy to try to avenge the T1 Heavy, aka me. And the T-50-2 also goes after him, which is great. You never want to go after this kind of tank on your own. And as you can see, the leaf blower is waiting for the T-67, but the T-50-2 does get there. But unfortunately, he rams the Lafeur and dies. And the Lafeur is going to try to shoot the T-67. T-67 does not make a connecting shot, but he backs off, which is the smart move because he's going to get taken out by the Lafeur. It has too good of a rate of fire. Our Stug here, coming up and blanking him, gets some good shots into the rear of the tank, and unfortunately is unable to do anything. But thankfully, our Artie, the M41 HMC, takes him out. Just a really good result. 1,700 damage, 1,800 combined. Unfortunately, couldn't get the last platoon there with Eagle Driver 76, but that was a cracking game in the T1 Heavy. And I'll just pull up the battle results here real quick. And I'll show you what we got in that. One moment. Alright, so I just pulled up the battle results here. So this was the results of our battle. We got a 2nd class mastery badge and 37,000 credits and 2,850 experience. I believe I applied the multiplier there. 950 base, and we did, again, 1,740 damage with 3 kills. Most damage, 2nd place in most kills there. Well, first or dual 2nd place. 1st place in kills. And we carried that game. As you can see, our Tier 6s didn't really do much in the name of taking out the enemy. Nashorn did pretty good, as well as the Dicker Max, but ultimately they got taken out and got carried by the tier 5 tanks on the team, which is always fun to see. 30,000 credits profit. We fired 32 rounds. That was a lot of blind firing and missing from my part, but that's the nature of this tank. And hit 17 and 16 pin due to that very respectable penetration. We actually bounced 115 damage, and still we got 4 non-penetrations hitting us, so very good result there. And we even got 130 assistance damage. And yeah, we took out that absolute crazy Artie that just destroyed everyone the whole match. We took out the Churchill early, that he did some good work. And we took out the M10, as well as the Super Chaffee on the enemy team, as well as this Doom Squatch in the Mitsu 108, not allowing them to go on to destroy the match. Overall, great result, and I do definitely like the T1 Heavy. It is a very, very good tier 5 tank. And now I've got a cool camouflage on it. And by the way, that result was with this 86% crew that is in the tank now. And with the inferior stats that affords you, the tank is fully upgraded, though, aside from having the best engine, which does make a significant difference, as that is a 100 horsepower difference. And when you've got a tank that, as I said, weighs quite a bit, over 58 tons, that's going to make a big difference for you. It can actually go 14 kilometers an hour in reverse. But overall, great result. Really, really do like this tank. And definitely would recommend you picking it up on your way to the T110E5. Hell, that is the only way to get to it now, since they redid the tech tree, got rid of the jumbo here that allowed you to jump up to this tank. Now you have to play the T1 Heavy to get the Powelak? Is that how you say that? I have no idea. The tier 6 Heavy that goes up to the M tanks here, the M2Y, the M3Y, and the M6Y, as well as the M5Y, as well as the ever faithful M103, T125, and the recently buffed T32, and the absolutely stellar T29, and even the M6 has been buffed to where the turret is no longer quite as weak, and so it's also a very good tank to play. But anyway, that's all for me today, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you learned a little something about the T1 Heavy, and hope you enjoyed. In the meantime, have a good one, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.